Hi students, today we're looking at the commercial real estate income stream flow. This is one of the most important concepts in real estate finance, appraisal, brokerage, and investment analysis, because it shows how rental income turns into net operating income, or NOI. Now this topic can feel hard at first, so take a breath and relax. We're going to go one bucket at a time, one step at a time. You don't need to absorb all of it at once. By the end, the whole flow will make sense. The reason it feels tricky is that the numbers don't just appear. In real practice, someone has to find them, verify them, and decide whether they're reasonable. So as we go, I'll show you not just the formula, but where each number actually comes from. Let's start with the big idea. A commercial property is usually valued based on the income it can produce. But we don't start with NOI, we have to work our way down to it step by step. So picture the income moving through a series of buckets. We start with the green bucket, potential gross income, or PGI. PGI is the total rental income the property could produce if every unit or space were rented and every tenant paid in full. In simple terms, PGI is what the property could earn, the best case ceiling. Where do these income numbers come from? Rent rolls and leases tell you what's contracted today. For market rent, you look at comparable rentals, rent surveys, and platforms like CoStar and LoopNet, and you confirm it by calling commercial brokers and property managers active in that market. The best appraisers triangulate. Contract rent from the rent roll, market rent from comps and surveys, verified by the people doing deals on the ground. Next, we move to the blue bucket and subtract vacancy and credit loss. Vacancy is space that's empty or not leased. Credit loss is rent that was expected but never collected. In other words, uncollected rent. No property stays full forever and not every tenant pays. After subtracting those, we arrive at the yellow bucket. Effective gross income, or EGI. EGI is the income the property actually collects. So here's our first formula. Potential gross income minus vacancy and credit loss equals effective gross income. Now we move to the red bucket and subtract operating expenses. Operating expenses are the normal costs required to run the property. Things like property taxes, insurance, utilities, trash, repairs, maintenance, landscaping, and management fees. These numbers usually start with the property's own operating statement, owner records, and management reports. Then you test them against the market, expense guides when one exists for your property type and area, CoStar and other subscription data, your own prior appraisals of similar properties, and calls to brokers and property managers who know typical costs. Here's an honest truth about practice. There aren't many published expense guides for commercial real estate, so appraisers often have to compare the owner's reported expenses to market data and make a professional judgment about what's reasonable. After operating expenses come out, we reach the purple bucket, net operating income, or NOI. NOI is the income produced by the property before debt service. Now, debt service means the mortgage payment, and this part is critical. The mortgage payment is not included in NOI. Why not? Because NOI measures the property's ability to produce income, not the owner's specific loan. Two people could buy the same building with different loans, rates, and down payments. Their mortgage payments would differ, but the property's NOI stays the same. The income the real estate produces doesn't change based on how someone financed it. So here's our final formula. Effective gross income minus operating expenses equals net operating income. Let's lock in the whole flow. PGI is what the property could earn. EGI is what the property actually collects. NOI is what remains after operating expenses, but before the mortgage payment. One practical note. You don't have to do all of this by hand. Many appraisers and investors build these calculations in an Excel spreadsheet, with the rent roll, vacancy, expenses, and NOI laid out so the numbers flow automatically. It keeps everything organized and makes it easy to test different assumptions. So why do we go through all of this? Most of the time, the goal is to determine the capitalization rate, or cap rate. The cap rate connects a property's NOI to its value. You divide the NOI by the value or sale price to get the cap rate, and once you know the market cap rate, you can work backward to estimate what a property is worth. That's the income approach to value, and NOI is the engine that drives it. So relax, take each bucket one step at a time. Everything in income property valuation starts right here. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.